Long ago, two powerful kingdoms, the kingdom of Zambara and the kingdom of Narema, were locked in a bitter war. The greatest warrior of Zambara was a fearless young woman named Amina. She was known across the land as the Lioness of Zambara. No enemy had ever defeated her. One day, a fierce battle erupted between the two kingdoms. Amina rode into battle wearing shining armor and carrying her mighty spear. Across the battlefield stood Narema's strongest commander, Prince Kofi, a brave and handsome warrior. As the armies charged, Amina's eyes met Kofi's. For a moment, time seemed to stop. "Why am I staring at my enemy?" Amina whispered. Kofi looked at her and smiled slightly. "She's beautiful," he thought. Their soldiers fought around them, but neither could bring themselves to strike the other. After the battle ended without a winner, both warriors returned home unable to forget each other. That night, Amina couldn't sleep. "Amina, why does his face keep appearing in my mind?" Far away in Narema, Kofi stared at the moon. "Kofi, I pray we meet again." The war continued, but love had already begun. Weeks later, Amina secretly visited the border forest. To her surprise, Kofi was there. "Kofi, I hoped you would come." "Amina, you are my enemy." "Kofi, then why did you come?" Amina blushed. The two began meeting secretly beneath a giant baobab tree. They shared stories, dreams, and laughter. Soon they fell deeply in love. But one day, a spy discovered their secret. The kings of both kingdoms became furious. "King Jabari, you have betrayed your people. King Malik, you will never marry our enemy." The lovers were separated. Amina was locked inside the royal palace. Kofi was forbidden from crossing the border. Yet neither gave up. The kings prepared for the biggest battle in history. Thousands of warriors gathered. On the battlefield, Amina stood before her army while Kofi led the enemy forces. The kings expected bloodshed. Instead, Amina dropped her spear. Everyone gasped. "Amina, I refuse to fight the man I love." Kofi lowered his sword. "Kofi, and I refuse to kill the woman who owns my heart." The soldiers fell silent. Then an old village elder stepped forward. "Elder, how many sons and daughters have died because of this war? Perhaps love is the peace we have been praying for." The people began cheering. Soon both armies laid down their weapons. For the first time in generations, peace came to the land. The kings finally realized their children could unite the kingdoms. Months later, preparations for a grand wedding began. Kings, queens, chiefs, and villagers traveled from every corner of the continent. Amina wore a magnificent warrior queen gown decorated with gold. Kofi wore royal robes fit for a king. As they stood before the elders, "Elder, do you choose each other above all others?" "Amina, I do." "Kofi, with all my heart." The crowd erupted in celebration. The two kingdoms merged into one prosperous nation. Years later, Amina and Kofi ruled together with wisdom and kindness. Whenever people asked how their love story began, they would smile. Kofi, on a battlefield. Amina, where my enemy became my greatest blessing. And they lived happily ever after.